This is the wireless way, where mobility, IoT, and innovation drive real business outcomes. Welcome to another episode of the Wireless Way. And as always, I'm grateful that you're here. I know you got a lot going on. I mean, if you were listening to the last episode, I just got back from a big trip. So full disclosure, I'm still struggling to kind of get back in the groove of things. So I hope this goes as well as it should. So I'm grateful for Andrew Tynan being with me. He's our guest today. Andrew is the AVP of Mobile Products at MetTel, where he works at the forefront of enterprise communications and connectivity solutions. He has a deep experience in telecom, managed network services, and customer-centric technology strategies. And he helps with businesses simplifying complex infrastructure and scale with confidence. He's known for his practical insight and forward-thinking approach, which is why I'm glad to have him on the show today. He brings a strong perspective on how modern connectivity powers digital transformation. Another topic that we hit on a lot is that digital transformation. So, Andrew, welcome to the show. I appreciate your flexibility and patience in getting this scheduled. And here we are today. So thanks for being here.
Chris, thank you very much for having me. And I tell you what, that's quite a bio. I might need to borrow that one the next time I get the opportunity to join you. Thank you very much.
I generally only have really awesome, solid guests on the show, and you're in that category, man. And you've done some things, and you're building some cool stuff, and you're with a great company that is really making a mark in this space. One of the biggest areas I want to talk to you about, of course, is that whole managed mobility, managed device, wireless, cellular, IoT. We'll hit on as many of those as we can. But before we do that, what's not in the bio? It's one of my favorite questions. What else can you tell us about Andrew that maybe the bio doesn't point out, or maybe people might be surprised to learn about you?
Well, you probably won't be surprised once you hear me speak that I'm from Australia. So I moved over to the US almost 10 years ago, Chris, and following a dream of mine to live in New York and work in, bigger and better and more exciting places. And I've spent the majority of that time working in IT and telecommunications. And so can bring a depth of insights relevant, not just to the US environment, but also, Australia and Asia Pacific. I think outside of work, as a good Australian kind of boy growing up, I loved playing rugby and still get out on the pitch every so often. Although I must say the old shoulders aren't as strong as they used to be, Chris.
Are there like adult leagues in New York that you join, or is it hard to find a game?
No. There's a couple of amateur tournaments that go on in New York. One of my good friends, he plays more consistently than I am. I just get thrown in when they haven't got enough to fill the numbers.
Fantastic. That is pretty interesting. You're right. I was going to, if you didn't point that out, I'm like, well, you're definitely, is that a Southern accent I hear? Not quite a Southern accent, just joking. But that's excellent. So rolling into one of the first things I want to ask you about, especially over the last 10 years, maybe far back as you've been in this space. I mean, what are some major trends you're seeing? A lot of the listeners are in the technology space, that technology architect space. What trends are you seeing when it comes to enterprise connectivity and even cellular connectivity? Anything interesting to share with us there?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to address the elephant in the room, which is AI. And I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about AI throughout this conversation. I'm not going to dwell too much on it right now, but I think there's a lot of really interesting technology relevant to telecommunications that AI is enabling us and our customers to leverage. So I'll be looking forward to sharing some insights into that. But now that we've addressed AI, let me talk about some of the key things which I think are really impacting enterprise customers right now. We're seeing the convergence of network and security, and we're seeing the convergence of security and managed mobility programs more than ever. And in fact, it's now non-negotiable. Those conversations are not happening in two separate rooms. They're happening in the same room, and programs are being built to really address the needs of network capabilities and security capabilities at the same time. I would also say that there has been a shift towards device as a service. I think the days of buying equipment and having a kind of transactional relationship with your provider are long gone, and enterprise customers are expecting a fully managed device as a service program, because those enterprise customers face challenges with not just managing the equipment, but managing the connectivity on those devices. And MetTel is doing some really interesting to help our customers with managing that at scale, which, as you know, is the kind of market that MetTel is really in, enterprise customers. I think that there has been a modernization of carriers. There's been a modernization of the features that they're allowing customers to leverage. And for MetTel, one of the things that we are really seeing strong demand and really seeing strong interest is multi-carrier capabilities. This isn't necessarily a new thing. You know, this technology has been around for a while now, but we're seeing a really rapid increase in demand for these offerings as customers and their employees start to adapt to different working models, as they start to allow for more flexibility in the workforce.
No, I agree with that. That makes sense. I like how you started the elephant in the room, the AI conversation. So let's go ahead and jump to that. Kind of a two-part question. How is your organization leveraging AI to kind of impact the customer experience and the operations? And what are you seeing AI for the actual customer and the customer experience, on the device? How is AI impacting our business from your perspective?
Yeah, it's a great question, Chris. And I think, the short answer is a lot of organizations are still learning. A lot of
Yes.
organizations are still very much in that testing phase. A lot of organizations are still very much kind of in the exploration of what these capabilities can do. At MetTel, we're thinking about it in a couple of different ways. One, how are we making it easier for our customers to get more efficient resolution or more efficient outcomes on, say, a device lifecycle, on a new request that they may have, and making it much easier for them to fulfill or submit some of those activities through agentic AI, through a more intuitive, human layer chatbot experience. So there's a lot of innovation that's currently happening, which we're excited to be releasing to our customers this year, which will allow them to, I think, more seamlessly get value from the capabilities that we're providing to them. Obviously, internally, Tel is able to harness these solutions pretty quickly to make it more effective in the service delivery, more effective in the outcomes we're providing to our customers. And one of those ways, from a network perspective, is making it quicker, more informed, more strategic decisions around, network activity. Are we switching a customer on a multi-carrier SIM card uh, through is there a little preparation going on? So I think that, when it comes to AI and how MetTel is leveraging AI, we're going to see a lot of really exciting solutions this year. Those solutions are going to make it easier for our customers to equip their employees with the tools they need to be successful and get more efficient resolution on results throughout the life cycle of that service.
Yeah, that's, you mentioned earlier, I think a lot of companies are still trying to figure it out. And that's a fair assessment, even though the topic's been around, for what feels like a couple of years now. I have a lot of conversations with business, leaders, and some are confused, some are scared, some are excited. It just kind of depends what angle you're looking at it from. But bottom line, I think it's another tool in the toolbox. How can we make apps? How can we make devices more efficient, more effective? How can we get to a desired outcome quicker and faster? Those are all good things for business. If we're going to say time is money, I think most people would agree with that. So
Yeah, and I think that there is a natural learning curve. There's a natural learning curve for these new tools, and I think with AI, it's happened so quickly and is changing so quickly. So, across enterprise organizations, that learning curve is looks very different. And as you said, some are very excited, some are leaning in, which is certainly MetTel's position. And I think others are kind of waiting on the sidelines to try and figure out exactly what the jumping off point is. I think our perspective is because it is moving so quickly, because there are such rapid advancements happening every day, you need to just start. You need to just start somewhere, start to play around with tools, start to play around with how those tools can improve performance, can make it easier for your customers. I think that MetTel is really starting to see many really exciting opportunities which will be available to customers this year.
Let's pivot a little bit to another topic related. Give us some examples of like, challenges that customers are coming to you, partners are bringing customer issues to you. What kind of challenges are you seeing, and where are you like seeing the biggest impact and problem solving for customers? And what is your MetTel and specifically mobility wireless? What kind of problems are you solving? What challenges are you seeing that you're solving as well?
Yeah, and I think to help frame that question, it's important to understand the type of customers that MetTel is typically supporting, Chris, and that is enterprises. Enterprises with thousands or tens of thousands of employees who are working in multiple locations. And the reason why that's important context is those enterprises, one of the biggest challenges is fragmentation. When we start, speaking to customers, they say, we've got relationships with every carrier in North America. We have multiple MDM solutions that we're deploying. We have multiple OEM relationships that we're leveraging to buy devices. And they don't have an easy way to take all of those things and put it into one very easy to consume portal or one very easy to consume lifecycle. And I think what that results in is inefficiency. It results in inefficiency in the device life cycle. It results in usage inefficiency. And I think a really important conversation here is it also leads to a security risk. When you've got so many disparate systems, it's just naturally much harder to manage those. And that's where some of the gaps can start to pop up. Gaps in keeping devices secure, gaps in vulnerabilities on the network. And so I think that, one of the core values and one of the core, components of TEL's program is how can we remove that fragmentation and make it much easier for customers to buy, manage, deploy, retire, consume, upgrade, all of the things that they need to be successful in their mobility or network infrastructure program, and do that in one place. And our portal is really designed for them to do just that, and really kind of reduce the overhead and reduce the burden that we know goes into managing, enterprise mobility or enterprise connectivity at scale.
So with these solutions coming to you, the partners bringing opportunities to you, what percentage of them kind of break down to smartphones versus tablets versus laptops versus maybe IoT tracking sensors? I mean, what's the breakdown look like? I mean, what are you seeing the most wins? Where are partners winning with you?
MetTel, just like, all of our partners that we love working with, we're here to solve problems. We're here to deliver outcomes. And the kind of reality is we may have a conversation with a customer who, originally came to us about their smartphone program. They want to, roll over to a new program and get some support there. It's not until you really start to, peel back the layers and understand working with the CIO or the procurement teams or the security teams or the IT teams, exactly what are some of the problems that they're facing. And, the reason why I'm saying that, Chris, is that often leads a smartphone conversation very quickly morphs into a fleet or IoT conversation or a POTS replacement program. And so the composition of which MetTel is supporting our customers is very diverse. I wouldn't say there's one clear winner in terms of smartphones or laptops or tablets. I think that's part of the beauty of MetTel, Chris, because we have a very diverse portfolio of products and solutions that we're offering to customers, which allows us to more seamlessly take a problem and understand how we can solve it through that that portfolio.
Let's talk about BYOD for a second. That comes up occasionally. I mean, over the last 5 to 10 years, companies went to BYOD because it was such a hassle to manage everything you just described, right? So they solved the problem, right? We don't have to worry about all that. We'll just give you, 30, 50. I heard a company yesterday gives their employees $120 stipend. I'm like, what the heck are they? I mean, are these gold-plated iPhones? I mean, what do you need $120 a month for? So yeah, that BYOD was kind of a solution to this headache. But now that you have a different solution, I mean, are you seeing any indication that companies are coming back? Because again, you mentioned cybersecurity and the data on devices. You can't secure a device you don't own. You could try. Some have tried. It's just not effective. I mean, the employees push back. What are you seeing in the BYOD conversion? Is that happening?
Yeah, it's so interesting that that kind of big push for BYOD 5 years ago has definitely slowed down. And I think you really hit the nail on the head, Chris. The primary reason why is security. And I think, another elephant in the room, the security risk is not the edge device. It's not the application. It's how the employee is using them. We are the problem. We're the ones that are clicking on that, that message that, looks like it came from our CEO. We're the ones that are downloading applications on the phones. We're the ones that are accessing the Wi-Fi at the Starbucks on Fifth Avenue. So the human layer is the security risk. And I think when we approach that and the BYD device, it starts to paint a really clear picture as to some of the problems that enterprises face when they allow their employees to, have manage and use their own device. So we have seen a seismic shift back towards company-owned devices. And I mentioned earlier that, that's allowed MetTel to really think about, okay, how can we allow our customers to, equip their employees with a device and do so that is both financially sustainable, do so that is easy to kind of deploy and support across the device lifecycle. And that is through our device as a service programs. And we have device as a service programs across, our entire mobility fleet, smartphones, tablets, laptops, which we've recently introduced and are seeing a lot of really strong demand for. And that device as a service program allows customers to consume and manage those devices in an OpEx model. So rather than spending the money outright, we can amortize the costs over a predefined refresh cycle. And so that OpEx program not just allows them to have, as I said, a really clear, very consistent financial kind of planning, but it also gets enterprises into a refresh cadence and allows them to kind of have a really consistent approach of, all right, laptops every 3 years, we're going to refresh these because we know that laptops are changing so quickly. We want to give you the best possible, equipment so you can do your job more effectively. So every 3 years we'll change the laptops. Smartphones have a longer shelf life. So we might have a 4-year refresh cycle for smartphones and for tablets. And so what's that allowing enterprises to do, going back to your question, is have more confidence in a migration away from BYD and get them back to a fully managed offering. And there's many reasons why we kind of support this against BYD. One of them is it just gives organizations much more flexibility to make sure that what's happening on those devices is as expected, and make sure that, the human layer isn't going to cause any issues in vulnerabilities.
We'll be right back.
Imagine the power of a single cell phone, just one small device destined for more than just calls. I'm talking about cell phones for soldiers. Your retired phone can be a lifeline for veterans and heroes truly in need. Since 2004, this remarkable nonprofit has transformed over 25 million donated phones into more than 450 million free minutes for service members and veterans, reconnecting them with the voices that mean the most. Your donation is kindness in action, reducing electronic waste and empowering those who served. Each device helps fund urgent communication, calling cards, and programs that rebuild connections, restore hope, and unlock new opportunities for veterans. Check the drawer. Your unused phone could make an extraordinary difference. Simply send it in or drop it off at one of the thousands of locations nationwide and give someone the chance to reach loved ones. Visit cellphonesforsoldiers.com today because even a single device can spark life-changing connections for veterans all across the country. That's cellphonesforsoldiers.com. You touched on cybersecurity and MDM. I need to talk about that in a second. So obviously, it's much easier if the client's coming to you saying, "I need 5,000 cell phones. I need new devices." You guys have this amazing warehouse in New York City where you can stage and kit and put the MDM on the device. So when you ship it out to the end user, they just open the box, turn it on, and it's ready to go. Are there cases where maybe they have an existing, that they already own the devices and maybe they already have an MDM that they're not using properly? Talk to me about that. I mean, is that what value you guys adding to helping them make that transition? And maybe speak to, do you have a particular MDM you use? Is it, in-house or do you have different options? Yeah. Talk to us about MDM. And I think
Yeah.
that's still a big mystery to a lot of our partners
I mean,
and how that
firstly,
matters.
DM is table stakes. We look at the data, and I think that the numbers are about 80% of enterprises are using an MDM of some form, and if they're not, they will be, by the end of this year, because it's an incredibly powerful solution that allows customers to make sure that that device is optimized for that employee, whether that's through profiles or through applications or through, Wi-Fi credentials, and making sure that that device throughout the life cycle can be kept optimized through patching, through policies, through configuration changes. So firstly, if we aren't talking or having the conversation with customers about MDM, we're already behind the eight ball because it's a critical part of their overall device management program. When we think about how MetTel provides or enables customers with MDM, you've already touched on a couple of different ways that we're seeing this. One, we do have a MetTel managed MDM. This MetTel managed MDM, fully set up, configured, deployed by MetTel and some of the engineers on our team so that our customers don't have to. We also have customers that are bringing their own MDM and wanting to kind of integrate it into some of our systems. So irregardless of model A or model B, the real value is making sure that we can, as we're going through the deployment lifecycle or as we're going through the retirement lifecycle of a device, automate some of the actions that we know customers are looking for. And it's not, as a theoretical concept, that challenging. I think technically it's quite challenging. What we're doing is allowing customers to buy a device, and the moment that that employee opens the device, a couple of days later, it is already pre-provisioned with all the applications that I mentioned, with all the security profiles that are necessary for that employee, with some of the network settings locked down so that, again, it's in line with what that device should be doing for that employee. And when that employee decides to leave the company or is kicked out of the company, we can really quickly, again, through automation and through some of the integrations that we've built out, make sure that device is locked, or that device isn't going to be compromised with the data that's on it. And so there are a lot of kind of there's a lot of value that MetTel is providing to our customers with this program. And we're really excited that we've now extended this.
Another area I'm going to pivot to is talking about that device end of life cycle management. So I can only imagine with the amount of devices you guys are managing and from phones to tablets, et cetera. What are you seeing there? I mean, I think again, that's another area. The channel we're so focused on the pre-sale and the sale. Not a lot of people are thinking about 3 years later, um, and how many of these devices can be refurbished and recycled, or what do you guys do with the devices you're getting back that just no one's going to want to use? I mean, obviously you don't just throw them away. I mean, there's data on there and there's precious metals in there. Talk to us just briefly about that device end of life cycle management.
Well, Chris, our good friend Max Silver, he loves to call it the IT closet, the laptop graveyard, the mobile phone graveyard. And so often we go to our customers' sites and they've got a room, or in some case, rooms just full of devices. They don't know what to do with them. There's no categorization of devices. They don't know if they're actually able to be used. And talking about inefficiencies and some of the challenges that enterprises face, burst logistics and device decommissioning is a big one. And so, as you pointed out, MetTel's warehouse and some of our device lifecycle program allows them to, I think slowly move away from the mobile graveyard and let MetTel take that off their hands. And reverse logistics and secure decommissioning, it's also part of the security conversation. It's also part of the security conversation, which we know every CIO, every IT team has top of mind at the moment. And I think that depending on the device type, there's different things that you should be doing, data destruction, full wipe. If we are getting that device back into the hands of another employee, going through a full factory reset, we use different screening and diagnostics tools to be able to do that. And so, I think that there is a lot of, really important activities that, as you said, somewhat gets treated like an afterthought. It shouldn't be an afterthought because it's either presenting a security risk, an operational risk, or a burden on someone who's got that closet. And so MetTel, our kind of warehouse, as you said, in New York is really allowing customers to remove that from their plate and focus on other more important things.
Exactly. Most IT teams are understaffed, are not fully staffed, and they got bigger things to worry about. They don't want to deal with this problem of Chris forgot his password, Chris dropped his phone and cracked the screen. They don't deal with that.
They don't want to deal with that. Exactly. Exactly. And I think that they shouldn't have to, because there's a lot of really easy things that we can provide to them, which allows that device to get shipped directly back to MetTel, which allows the IT team to kind of be removed from the conversation. So we're making certainly the lives easier for our IT teams. And as I said, get them back to focusing on more strategic initiatives. There's always going to be transformation projects that they're considering. There's always going to be security initiatives that they need to consider. So we're really making it much easier for them to focus on those items.
We've talked a lot about some of the features and the things that you're doing, but let's even go before that happens. I mean, what advice do you have for selling technology architects that are not selling in this space today? What's some good advices to help them identify opportunities, maybe a question or two to ask to kind of plant that seed? And do they need to be experts in mobility to sell your services?
The short answer is no. They don't need to be experts in mobility to sell the services. I think they need to be experts in understanding the customer's pain points. Working with, MetTel, we've got great folks on our team who are the experts. Working with the experts to translate those customer pain points into practical solutions. And so I think that from a advice to advisors, start with the basics. Start with understanding how are you managing your device lifecycle today? What are some of the pain points that you're experiencing? How long does it take you to get a new employee with the equipment and the connectivity that they need on day one? And you'll start to really quickly get a clear understanding of where there's gaps, where there's bottlenecks, where there's inefficiencies within that organization. Because the real value in what we can provide to customers, yes, it's cost savings, but more importantly, it's time savings, it's resource allocation savings, building a practical solution that is allowing that company to work better, enable their employees more effectively, be, higher performing. And that's the role that we play in this to just make it much easier for them to understand how we can get them there. I would say that for for any of these conversations, we want to design for flexibility. We want to design for changing needs of that organization, and the changing needs of the industry that we are in right.
Yep. And one of the things that I see a lot of, Andrew, yeah, onboarding's obviously has to happen. You have a new employee, you gotta give them a device, gotta give them connectivity. But the part that most companies do a horrible job, if they even do it at all, is offboarding. You kind of referenced that. I mean, because another area that most people, if they're not using your service, so they're going direct with a carrier, um, if they have 1,000 devices, it doesn't shock me when I see 100, 200 devices with no data usage because those employees left and in IT, no one told IT, no one told accounts payable to turn it off. So they're just paying for lines that no one even knows where the phone is.
No, I completely agree. And one of the really big areas that we're focusing on and have made really exciting advancements in the last even quarter is how are we building a system that allows our system to talk to your systems? And let's talk about the two key things that we're really focusing on and customers are leveraging today to solve that problem, Chris. We've built a integration marketplace that allows our customers to connect our platform directly into their HR software like Workday or Bamboo, or perhaps Microsoft Entra if they're using that for user management. And what that allows our customers to do is as soon as we have received a notification that Chris Whitaker, I'm sorry, buddy, your time is up, time to go,
It's happened before.
and we're letting you go on Friday, we will get that notification and we're automatically starting the offboarding process for our customers. We're automatically saying, hey, Chris, on Friday at 5 o'clock, we're going to shut down your service or suspend the service if they want to reuse the line for another employee. We're also going to ship you a box. In that box is how you're going to get the device back to MetTel or back to the employee HQ. And the reason why our customers love this so much is it's avoiding, as you've already said, the challenges with swivel chairing information from one team to another. You submit a form and it gets attached as a PDF. All of that is a thing of the past now. And I think that, talking about trends and talking about future thinking, integrations and interoperability has to be the forefront of our, because those are the systems that customers are using, and there's much easier ways for us to automate activities between those systems.
Looking ahead, you mentioned a 3 or 4 year tech refresh cycle. So let's look 5, 6, 7 years out. What's your predictions, and how are things going to be a little different, better, or maybe not better? I mean, what are your predictions, and how do you see this enterprise wireless connectivity solution evolving or transforming?
Yeah, I think that the network will become invisible. It will be in everything. The proliferation of devices that are connected is going to be huge. And those networks are going to be managed by AI and have self-healing capabilities. It's going to be, as a user, such a different experience as you're traveling from location to location, give you the best possible signal no matter where you're going. Some of those things MetTel is already doing today, but that's just going to keep on improving. We've spoken about it already, but I think device as a service model is going to become the new normal. I think owning hardware will feel as outdated as owning a server rack. The device as a service model will be across all equipment. I think is will be something which customers even leverage to scale. I mentioned AI right at the start. It would be remiss of me not to mention AI again, but I think AI is going to play a really critical role in support. It's going to play a really critical role in transformation for customers, both on the device, network itself. And you know what? From a practical sense, and for something which I know, Chris, we speak about a lot between our organizations, the advisor, it's going to, shift from here is a solution to we've designed and built an outcome for you. And I think clients are going to buy connectivity. They're not going to buy circuits. And there's a really, I think, exciting evolution of that industry, which is going to make it much easier for our customers to leverage those solutions.
Yes. Again, we've covered so much. I'm sure there's more to cover, but as we kind of wrap up here, is there anything we didn't cover that you really want to get out? Any last words, any bits of knowledge you want to share with us as we wrap up?
Yeah, I think there's one thing that I would like to touch on, and that is MetTel's new connected laptop as a service program. So unsurprising, it's as a service. I've said it a few times here today, Chris. We're really excited by this program because it's a natural evolution of MetTel's 30 years of delivering mobility offerings. And for so long, our enterprise customers have come to us and said, "Hey, MetTel, we're buying tens of thousands of mobile phones off you a year. We really think it'd be great if you could do the laptops." And the reason why is because the fragmentation is a killer, something which I touched on right at the start of this call, Chris. They're buying laptops from someone else. They want to bring that into the MetTel fold just to reduce, again, the amount of vendors that we're working with. So we're really excited by this program and the capabilities that customers are starting to leverage on a connected laptop. I don't know if you have one, Chris, but if you don't, I highly encourage you to get a connected laptop because I know you're always out and about with clients and traveling. And, it's proven to me to be such a game changer as I'm on the road and working with customers because I'm getting the best possible signal no matter where I am. And I'm not having to tether to a Wi-Fi or to unsecure public Wi-Fi. So we're really excited about the program and I'm sure your customers are going to be too.
Excellent. So obviously, that was a great teaser. If you want to know more about the Connected Laptop program, you can reach out obviously to one of our sales team or your MetTel channel managers as well. Or even is it online? Is it on the website now?
Reach out to your MetTel channel managers. There's going to be some big announcements coming over the next few weeks. In the meantime, we'd love to support you with any opportunities or any customers that has an acute pain point when it comes to managing that equipment type.
Fantastic. Well, Andrew, it's been a pleasure. It went by fast. Thanks again for your time today, and thanks for sharing some updates.
Chris, thank you very much for having me, and glad to have you back in the US after some time away.
Yes, it was a great time. So thank you for that. And as always, thank you for listening. If a customer popped in your mind as you're listening, or a colleague, or someone you want to share this information with, hey, share this episode with them. I really appreciate it. And of course, follow, and subscribe. That's always a big plus. That if you enjoy the show, that's the best way to kind of show your appreciation. That means a lot to me. And until next time, I'm Chris Whitaker, and this is the Wireless Way. Find the opportunity, map your path, and lead with purpose. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on the Wireless Way.
Thanks, Chris.
Every 2 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood for surgeries, cancer treatment, chronic illness, and traumatic injuries. Yet, only 3% of eligible Americans donate each year, leaving hospitals struggling to keep enough blood on the shelves. One blood donation can save up to 3 lives. With your help, we can make sure life-saving blood is ready before it's needed. If you're healthy and able, please roll up a sleeve and donate. Visit redcrossblood.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS to find a drive or donation center near you. Donate blood saves lives. It's easy, safe, and one of the most generous things you can do.